Hey guys, in 2024, we're doing something a little bit different. We want to hear from you on what movie we need to talk about.
Yep. If you guys like movies like us, we're definitely interested in hearing what type of movies or what movies specifically you want to listen to us. And if you want to give us some suggestions, there's the Beacons link available in the description, which then you have Discord, you have YouTube, comments, whatever you want to do, DM us. Just let us know what you want us to talk about, and we're happy to share that with you.
And of course, you can't forget to like, subscribe, give us 5 stars, name your children after us, or whatever it is that you want to do. But make sure you do it so that more people can find us.
Definitely, please support us because we need all the support, and you guys can definitely help us keep going in 2024. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're here to talk about the 2011.
Not even close.
Sorry, let me try again.
How'd you get 2011?
I don't know. Not even.
I've been doing that too.
Okay.
Like the
I'm not
whole
gonna- I'm not
back
gonna-
10 years
I keep
already.
saying 2023 or 2013 instead of 2023.
I'm not gonna stop.
Holy
I'm just gonna.
shit. But it's 2024, by the way.
I know.
Oh, damn. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Today, we're here to talk about the 2022 movie, Suzume. And as always, I have here with me Ramon
Hey, guys.
and Raul.
Howdy.
This movie was requested by one of our fans. She comes from, she's in Puerto Rico. She decided to remain anonymous, but I promise you that she is real and I can prove it.
We
Hey,
did not make her up.
I did not make her up at all. But, I'm excited that this person suggested this movie, man, because it's something that I've been wanting to, watch in the past. Because, there's a couple of these movies that I haven't seen. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity. But I'm excited to hear what you guys thought about the movie. Ramon, what did you think about the movie, man?
I was going to say, actually, one of the first things I was going to start with is, who recommended it? Because I have to thank you. Not saying that this is something I wouldn't watch on my own, because clearly, obviously, I love movies and shows and anime and all this stuff. But it's it's like movies and all that. It's so broad. There's so many options. And I just feel like this one hasn't really, hit my radar because I'm not always looking for, anime movies or animated movies and things like this. So when I first, saw Carlos drop the name, I'm like, I'm down regardless. Watched it, fell in love with it. Even within the first minute, I was like, holy crap. And to me, again, if you guys have heard us enough, I respond to visuals, graphics, animation. One of the most beautiful animated movies that I've ever seen. The fact that almost every scene had to play with light, refraction, some kind of lighting effect was incredible. And I think just that alone was sucked me in regardless. And then it was mysterious enough because I didn't know what I was watching, that I was into the story. As it got a little bit more I guess you could call it a little bit paranormal, because it has to do with the afterlife. It became even, it sucked me in more. And then you add a little bit of romance, and then you have a cute little kitty that says Suzume, and then I just loved it. And then I'm a sucker for it now. So I'm sad that it is not a series and I don't get to watch more of it, because I clearly was damn, I wanted to know more about these closers. And obviously I'm curious to see what happens with Suzume and Souta, but it is what it is. So
No, man, just like you, man. I'm super thankful that I got to see this movie, and I might have some exciting news for you guys after we're done with the episode. But Ro, what did you think about this movie, man?
I didn't know about the movie, or I knew it existed, and I had heard of the song plenty of times. I just didn't know it was from this movie. And then I didn't want to see it, but I don't know. I felt like it was a movie that I shouldn't watch by myself, which is why I never saw it. But then this opportunity came around. I was like, I guess I'll watch it, even if I'm going to watch it by myself. And honestly, it was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. It might be the most the most beautiful animated movie I've ever seen. But yeah, I loved it. It besides the visuals, it was a great story. I don't know. You really felt drawn in to the girl, and then I was really confused about the cat for a long time. But it was really cool, and I like the story and kind of the premise of it, and kind of her branching off into her adventure, and with the chair. But it was cool.
Yeah, in the
The chair.
beginning of the movie, I was like, finally a good reason never to have a cat. But I was proven wrong by obviously by the end. Um, the way I knew this movie was something I was really enjoying because as I was watching it, I started searching everywhere on how to get a replica of this chair. Like I was just like, where can I find this chair? And I was going like on some dark websites, man. That almost I was this close to giving my credit card information just to be able to get a replica of this like small little chair so I could carry it around, especially when we go to some of these conventions in the future. But I just immediately fell in love with it. Like you said, the animation is just so gorgeous. From somebody that saw Wish last year, which was the Disney movie, and I told you guys like I hated it. I really thought it was like the worst Disney movie has come out in the last 30 years. It's like, dude, this movie is like this. If you watch this movie, you should be ashamed of the work that you're putting out because so much love and work went into this movie, man. It's incredible what people are doing nowadays with hand drawn animation, even though there is some obviously computer style like this used to mix it with. But it's just I don't know, man. I just love so much about this movie, so I'm really happy to talk about it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the chair was a nice little element that I didn't expect because I mean, obviously we're gonna get there, but even as he first got turned into the chair, I'm like, oh, this is gonna last like, a few minutes and then cool. And then no, it was like a
The
fucking chair
whole
running
way,
all around
man.
Japan. It was great. It was great. Loved it. No, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Dude,
because
that's a randomest gift, or like the randomest gift to give somebody a stupid chair.
I don't know, man. I get it. I mean, I get like why you think that because it seems like oh weird, it's a chair, but it's like I don't know. I feel like we've had chairs that like randomly are still in my parents' house. They're like obviously they were like with us when we were little, and we're like, oh my god, you still have that chair. And of course we freaking sit on it every single time, even though we're like 10 times as big as a chair this like now. And I don't know, maybe there is a weird thing with parents giving little kids chairs and being
I
like,
I was gonna say I have a small rocking chair that somehow it made it all the way from Mexico to here, and I have it in my room. And my wife gets freaked out about it, but I'm like, wait, no, you can't be scared of it because unless I die, this chair can't be possessed because I'm the owner of it. So
mine.
I'm like, there's nothing for you to worry about till I pass. So you're good right now. But yeah, there is something about parents giving kids chairs, and again, I'm have one that I have like 30 years for it. 30 years with it. So who knows? Maybe one day I'll reincarnate into that chair or something and I'll truly be
And
possessing it.
and you'll stop the worm from earthquaking.
That was cool, man. That whole they're creating
Yeah.
natural disasters and you could probably tie it back to some of the natural disasters that have happened in Japan. So that was really cool to
Well,
see that
yeah,
kind of story play out.
well, that's the thing too. It's like so after I finished it, I mean it was like super late, and I think I finished like at 3 in the morning, so it's not like I was doing too much looking into it. But I was curious of a couple things because clearly it had a lot of symbolism and things that had to do with Japanese culture. Especially with the cats because they're clearly supposed to be gods and guardians and all this stuff. And for as much as we kind of like love and follow some of the Japanese culture because of these elements that we see, there were still things that felt so new to me. And so when I was looking it up, that's one of the things that I found out. It was that it was based off the 2011 earthquake in
Mm.
Japan. I believe that's the year that it happened, like
Yeah,
the
with the
last, like
tsunami.
huge, yeah, that one. And so it's right. And then because I was looking at that, it turns out that this creator of Suzume, I guess like a lot of his movies have to do with like natural disasters. So a lot of his common themes are like the whole natural disasters, love, this kind of like longing or like time, like manipulation to kind of like return to your lover. So like I don't know, like I to me it was like oh great, like maybe I
That
should watch more of his stuff.
that
And it
makes
was 12 years since the tsunami, like in the movie.
That's
oh,
awesome.
okay.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, because she was 17 now.
that makes sense because even like the creator of Studio Ghibli, I believe a lot of his movies are influenced by war because he grew up, he was a little kid while
Hmm.
war was happening around him. So that's really interesting, man, when these creators bring that experience of them growing up into like their movies and their animated movies, and they're doing an amazing job with it. Just like you said, Ramon, I was surprised when that guy turned into a chair because normally you don't turn such a beautiful man into it, like get rid of him for most of the movie, 80% of the movie. So I was like, oh man, he's straight up like gone, and he was a great guy to look at. Obviously, there's a reason why that girl decided to go back and find him in the beginning of the movie.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you guys want to start, but I think that's one of my like kind of I guess ideas when I started watching the movie, it was probably one of the bigger mysteries that hit me right away that I wanted to know more, right? Because you meet the girl, obviously there's a whole lot of other stuff, but like I think their first interaction with Suzume and Sota was like when she's going down the road and she sees him, and as she sees him, she like has this like turn around, like she recognizes him, and like the whole movie, I was just like, when is this gonna come back? Because we're following the story of this girl who's clearly like kind of like look, you know, like the movie seemed to me like it was a searching, like a soul searching, looking for yourself, for your like purpose. But then it also became a little bit of a romance. So in my head, it was still more, and obviously the supernatural was cool, but you clearly know that that was like a metaphor, but it was real in the movie. So anyways, long story short, I was really invested into how she knew Sota, especially after he did become a chair. Because then I was like, okay, so all we've gotten so far is just a random dude. He's a closer. They never actually met. And then he's a chair. And then, yeah, and then he's a chair. And then as he's going through the story, you're not getting the answer. It is not till like the very, very end when you find out that, you know, he was kind of, well, the whole surprise of even her being the one that she was there and her young memories. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't get the impression at all that she recognized him. I thought that she just like thought like, oh, this dude's really hot kind of thing. Because she's like a high schooler or
whatever. Reaction, he's like, wow.
yeah. That's how I took it. Like I didn't take it as if she like recognized him. I took it kind of like if she was intrigued and smitten by his charm.
But she did say it though, right?
Yeah, like I took it as both of you, what you guys are saying, because she did say that. She did say like, "Oh, I recognize him," but I also kind of took that as an excuse of a reason just to like go back and find him.
Hey, so it's like, boy, have I seen you somewhere? Like in my dreams?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. The idea of just having like an abandoned town close to where you live, like how are people not just constantly hanging out in there or opening that door, you know? But I guess she only had that connect,
falling into holes.
well, I guess she was only able to do that because she did have that experience as a little girl. Like not anybody can just go in there and open the door and bring out the worm. Like she had that experience as a little girl, so you know it was a little bit different for her.
What did you guys like think about that experience? Because that is one of the first things that we kind of see is like her kind of walking around like this, like clearly after an earthquake, like disaster zone, looking for her mother, and then you do have this very like, you know, dreamlike sky and kind of landscape where she's at, and then of course you hear the conversation of her and kind of asking for her mother, and then she has this like apparition who she thinks that it is her mother, but like I don't know, like that's like I said, that's why it captivates you from the beginning. Because right away you're like, wait, what's going on? Like
I thought it was going to be kind of like a world hopping type of movie, because like when it started with her as like a girl kind of like in this weird world, and then she opened that door and it was like this other world or whatever. I thought she was going to go through, and then like the other guy was going to be on the other side, like fighting something. And then they were going to be going through these different like dimensions or worlds or whatever. I thought that's what the movie was going to be, but then she kept trying to go through and it didn't work. And I don't know. I was just kind of surprised. And
there were a couple of times where I had to like rewind, especially like at the end, Ramon, when she is talking to herself, because I was confused. I was like, wait, is that like, did she all of a sudden turn into a little girl? Now she's talking to her mom, or is she talking to the aunt? And then when I finally like realized, like on my like rewinding, I'm like, oh, she's talking to herself. But so it was just kind of like, again, there was a couple of times where I'm like, wait, what am I really watching or understanding what's happening? So I really thought that was really impactful how that played out.
And I think that's what really pays off about the movie. Like, I think regardless, even if you thought, like, I mean, I love the movie. I feel like watching it, I was like, oh man, I'm usually not driven to the movies that are solely about like relationships and a romance, like especially when it's animated. Because again, I need more. And I think this had the more. But I think obviously skipping all the middle, once you get to the end, I think all those revelations, everything you were finding out, like everything to me was so satisfying. I think the only thing that wasn't satisfying is that there wasn't going to be more. Like I said, if it was like a show, which is, it shouldn't be a show, but if it had like a part 2 or something else, like, I don't know. I really was charmed by the whole world that they were living in. And of course, Suzume, like, right, because she was this like, you know, this soul who like obviously had not necessarily been orphaned, because she did have her aunt there, but you saw her like as a 17-year-old high schooler, like trying to like figure herself out, and as soon as she had this opportunity to like do more and search for more, she took it, and she didn't give, like, I mean, she cared.
How do you know she was a 17-year-old high
She
schooler?
she was a junior.
She's a
said she
junior.
was
They
a
made a
junior.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, man. 'Cause a lot of
Yeah.
times in these anime shows, like you think they're in high school, and then somebody will drop a line like, "I'm just in 8th grade in middle school," and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like this makes it way worse. Because even the
No.
guy, he was just finishing like graduate school. So I'm like, man, that's a huge age difference. If she happens to be in middle
He
school.
was in grad school or just college?
I thought
I thought he was just in college. He was
just in
the
college
teacher,
becoming a TA. Yeah.
Okay.
he was like learning to be a teacher
So was the
whatever.
other friend older than the one with the car?
No,
I think he's the same age.
Same age? Okay.
Which then made the whole thing with the aunt kind of weird.
I know.
When she was starting to be like, "What's up?"
I saw that.
She was around 40.
She neglected her coworker the whole time, dude. Who's always there for her, always waiting, like so nervous around her, like trying to ask her out. And then she meets this cool young like grad student with like
I felt
some
it,
earrings.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm like, man, I feel that connection right there.
Yeah, that's obviously when we get to that part. That's what I'm saying. Even like simple like things like that road trip like had so many layers to like what was going on, and clearly it wasn't all about like the earthquakes and the worms and them closing the door, but it was just like, this movie really made a good point out of like some of the somewhat mundane or things that could have been simpler just were beautiful and had some meaning. But yeah, I mean, I think the best part of it was, I think, that whole Souta becoming a chair, because that took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you have the cute ass like kitty come out of nowhere, and then he speaks. I mean, well, not out of nowhere, but obviously she follows him.
Well, let's
it was ugly first.
Yeah.
What was he exactly? He was like, what was the name they used for him? Because he was like
keystone.
A keystone. Yeah. So I mean, let's continue to talk about the movie from the keystone part. Like, she removes it, wakes up, and and then I guess that's where the story kind of starts, right? Because then a few minutes later or an hour later, like the worm starts coming out, and I was kind of surprised. Like I was like, what is happening? Like I wanted to understand more of what was coming out of the door.
Wait. So hold on. I just realized something.
Yeah.
So when she picked up the keystone, it was already outside of the door, and it should have been impaled on the worm, shouldn't it have?
I don't know how it works.
Not necessarily the worm. Yeah. I mean, they can be protectors and be put in a place to guard the place. I think the most, I mean, this is on the video that I was watching on the Japanese mythology, was that keystones could also be impaled, because like some of the bigger like catastrophes or bigger like monsters, like this like crazy ass catfish or dragon, had been impaled with a sword that was a keystone on the head. So I guess it matters differently. I think in the beginning it was setting it up for the premise, obviously, because obviously she's not gonna go chase a worm that she's never met or like seen and then go try to pull this keystone. So, but yeah, I guess it could be like an area keystone that is set up in a location, and it guards that location and prevents it from like disaster or like bad doings. So
I mean, no, go ahead.
Considering that it was like one of the two gods, I would have assumed that it would have been impaled. So like through our conversation, I kind of realized that like maybe that's what happened, and that's why that door opened, because that keystone kind of escaped from being impaled into the worm, and that's why it was outside of the door. And then when she picked it up, that kind of like turned him into a cat somehow.
Well, and if you consider that Daijin is trying to like kind of make her go through this journey to kind of eventually end up with that bigger worm, right? And like that other cat who's clearly a bigger like god or more.
It's the same worm, isn't it?
Well, no, was it the same worm?
I thought it was the same worm. And then I was going to say, I think the cat, maybe the bigger one, was the one that was actually attached to the worm inside the world. Yeah, the bigger cat.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. So I was thinking that because I was thinking because Daijin was trying to like kind of push her towards the other one, or like to like towards that bigger gate that we see at the end, the one that was like there for centuries. I think maybe like, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, like I was like, maybe like, I don't know, something did happen with that other cat, and I got to remember his name because I can't remember now. But like that's
Daijin.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying like somehow he like stopped being there, and the next thing you know, this happened, and they needed someone else's help, which Suzume was like maybe, I don't know, premonitioned to be like the other closer that was going to help with this.
I was ready to blame these cats for everything. Like first of all, I was blaming the little one, and then when the black one showed up, I'm like, hell yeah, cat still the bad guy, and then that cat also became good. I'm like, like I guess in this world we like cats, but I genuinely thought the whole time that the cats were causing all the chaos because I understand where the cat was coming from. Like, hey, I'm not the Keystone anymore. Like, it's your turn, buddy. Like, good luck. I'm free. Like, I don't want to be a Keystone. So I totally understood that.
Yeah, but even before you knew that, I still didn't know the purpose of what the chair was going to be about because they didn't tell us that till they actually got to the worm.
No.
And then he's like, surprise, you're a Keystone now. And it's like, what? Like, sucks for that, dude.
Yeah, I kind of got it a little bit when they showed him kind of like singing down and then kind of like freezing a little bit like in front of the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got it because when she picked up the cat figure, she said it was cold. And then like, it kind of like thawed or whatever. I was like, that's kind of like that thing.
Right.
So I thought like, oh, he's becoming a Keystone. And then that's what I thought was happening, that the cat didn't want to be a Keystone anymore and was turning that guy into a Keystone.
Because to me it was like, like the more he would stay in this chair, like he was just going to turn into like a regular chair because it kept taking longer for him to wake up. So that was something that I was kind of like, oh man, is he just going to be stuck in a chair if he doesn't solve the problem within like 5 days or something? So I was expecting that.
And like how amazing that it was that he was turned into the chair, which already was a very significant item to like Suzume. Yeah, and then so like that whole idea of like her falling in love with him eventually. Like obviously you saw it coming when he turned into the chair specifically. Not that it wasn't, right? You have a girl and a guy, like what do you expect? But it was just one of those like, he turned into the chair. Like, not that she didn't seem to be like fuzzy about it, and she wasn't gonna be like, oh my god, like you gotta leave the body because that's my chair and like I love it and it's my mom's. But like just that whole idea that I don't know, like he was just a very significant object, or he was in a very significant object for her, was extra great because I felt like it gave her more motivation to like be there with him, and so it kind of like made that relationship almost forced in a good way. But you could tell she was really into it from the beginning. Like after she saw him, she dipped school so she could go like see what he was up to, and then he just knew that she was gonna be into him. So
yeah, when the chair was it only had 3 legs, I was surprised that they didn't just somehow stick like another leg in there. I'm like, man, is this even like physics wise? Does it even make sense? Like how's he not always constantly like tipping over?
Yeah. No,
which is why whenever like he like sunk in, like the chair would fall over.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
that's true. I did really enjoy like the fact that he was actually be able to move and run and do all the crazy stuff because again in the beginning, not knowing what his like options were going to be for mobility or anything like that, we're like whatever, everything so much flashed in front of me when he turned into a chair, but then right away when he starts like hopping out of the window and starts running, and you're just kind of like, dude, this is crazy. Now we're gonna watch a chair run around chasing a little cat. And then it was just funny because that's literally what you got. You had like Daijin in the front, and then you had the chair, and then you had Suzume right behind them, and it was
people
like
recording.
Yeah, the funniest like chasing in the beginning, and like and that whole thing. It's like really fun to watch her whole journey from like whatever southern island she was in as she was kind of traveling north and seeing like kind of the journey, like physical journey, and especially with the chair, and then eventually further away, and then she also like wanted to hide the chair eventually, and like it's a whole thing of like how their relationship and how they were forced to kind of like interact, especially because he was always trying to push her away, being like, oh no, I got it, I can do this, and he couldn't even like get up to like put the key in, so that it went very far.
I think part of the charm of this movie is just like they go from location to location, to try to close these doors. And I'm telling you, man, every shot, you could like pause this movie at any shot in the movie, and it's just like everything's so crazy animated, man. Like I don't know, it's just to me it's really insane that this level of animation is happening in a movie, and I really did enjoy that journey because every time like they would go to a new location, they were in a boat, they were in like somewhere new. I was always like mesmerized with what I was watching on screen. So that was like I think what made the journey a lot better for me.
Dude, and the other thing too is during this journey, she kept like running into like random other like small like adventures too. Yeah, because like she was on the ferry and she fell asleep like right there or whatever. And then when she got to that other place, like with the whole Mandarin girl. And all that stuff, she took her in, she like gave her clothes and all that stuff. Then she was working with her or whatever, like washing and cleaning everything. And then then she went to a new place, and then she got taken in by those people, and then she pretty much made like all these like friends for life type of situations where you hope like nothing bad happens, but like I don't know if Japan is just like that, because here I feel that she might get like murdered or something.
Not
Dude,
not in the United States, that's for sure.
yeah. Well, not the Mandarin girl, because obviously that was like a good friendship too. Like she kind of like found this girl and she was able to like relate to her, and they really, they were the same age. But the lady with the kids, that one really, with the bar, that one really creeped me out, because I'm like, she just picks her up and she's like, I don't have a babysitter. Oh, you're gonna babysit for me, and then she makes her work at the bar, and I'm like, dude, what is this turning into?
Especially because it was the bar and you had like people drinking, and not that anybody was being like super pervy and stuff, but it's just the whole idea of she's like underage, and then she's just like, well, even this idea of like clearly she's not gonna take her because it's night, she has to work. She doesn't wait till the next day, and you got to babysit. But why do you got to make her work at the bar? She's already doing enough babysitting. But that was funny. But I mean, I like that because again, just that whole idea, like you said, you were trying to get to, Raul, like that she was making these like relationships everywhere she went, and it was really wholesome to watch. And I think also another good payoff at the end is seeing her aunt kind of reconnect with, like, meet those people and kind of like share like that experience, because then everybody was probably like, oh my God, Suzume's aunt, like we love Suzume, like, like she's great, and like, oh my God. And it's just, I don't know, like that's the kind of part of the movie that, again, I didn't think I needed in a general thing, but it was just so wholesome that you just enjoyed it all the way. Like I thought in the beginning, I'm like, dude, if this is going to be like a journey and they're actually traveling and they're just meeting people, might not that be that great, right? Like we've seen a lot of other things like that, but everything was so wholesome. And again, just with every single like scene being so beautifully rendered and all the light and all that stuff is just, man, it was just good.
And I thought those two little kids, man, they behave just like any kid that age would. I'm like, my God, like they won't stop. They can't be stopped. They're constantly like, their attention span is so limited. So it was just kind of funny when they did see the chair move. That was like the time that they were able to like calm down.
Dude, in the car when they were trying to like balance stuff on top of the chair, because they noticed that the chair was like stopping things from like falling over and spilling. That thing was hilarious.
Those kids were suspicious from the beginning, because the mom was like, no, there's something weird about it. Like they're still staring, and then they're like, we see you, chair. We see you. I don't know. It's good. I mean, not in a pervy way, but I was literally waiting for the moment where she would sit on the chair, and I think it wasn't, again, not.
No, we were all
definitely not just in a pervy way. Maybe a little bit, just because it's funny, right? But no, like I was clearly wondering, like when him as a chair was going to be of any use to her, that she was going to use it practically, right? So there was a one time that she stood on him to like reach whatever she was reaching for.
And then she asked if it was okay if she could stand on him.
Yeah, but when she sat down, she was like, nope, I'm just gonna sit on you, and she like sat on him, and like I could just imagine, because again, it's still like a charming romance going on right here, and it was just kind of like
a cute one or whatever.
Well, even the scenes where like, like she heard that like maybe a Love's kiss would help reawaken him and stuff like that, when he would fall into this deep, hilarious deep sleep, because he was just like hunk over, and then he just wouldn't wake up till later because we knew what was going on. But like through that the scene where like he kind of wakes up as she's kind of like backing away from like kissing him, like I don't know, like that was cute to me. Like at the end of it all, it was just kind of like, oh, that's adorable. Like he's just kind of like discovering that she is attracted to him, even in chair form. She's clearly like falling for him, and I don't know, that's cute. So yeah, it's not in a pervy way. I just really was wondering when that relationship was going to be like more utilitarian, like practical, like, hey, you're a chair, I'm going to use you right now. So
I thought it was I don't know, the whole love story of this was actually pretty wholesome, which is kind of surprising because it's anime. But I don't know, like I thought that they treated it well, even though I still don't know how I feel about the fact that she was in high school and he was in college. But
when he, at the end of the movie, it's not like he's like, it wasn't established like, oh, me and you are gonna be together. It was almost like, at first I was like, oh man, he's totally doesn't even really care for her in that way. It's gonna be like, well, I'm going back to do my thing and you're doing your own thing. But there's the whole thing like, I'll come and visit you, and then we do find out he did come and visit her. So that was kind of cute.
Mhm.
Yeah, adorable. And then who knows? By then it would have been like a year, 2 years later. You know, it's all right. It's all right.
Mhm.
No, what do you guys think of the grandpa, like his grandpa? Because like that was
It
another
was
scene.
weird.
Well, that was the scene that I needed to because obviously the movie's still not giving you answers, man. Even with Sota kind of explaining a little bit about what the closers are and kind of what they're doing. Like I just, clearly the grandpa was going to be the one to solve more things, and
Mhm.
I don't know. It was just one of those that when we met him, I expected him to be like a grouchy uncle. I mean, uncle, a grouchy grandpa, and to kind of just be not okay with her trying to be a closer. And that's kind of how he was. But clearly at the end, he was just kind of like, well, cool, I'll tell you what you should do in order if you really want to save him. But I don't know. It just reminds me of any like other anime and stuff like that with the grandpa or
Yeah, because he knew everything that was happening because he was able to see it through the window, and he's like, "Oh, my grandson has
To the
failed." Like, he was,
wall.
yeah, he just seemed like kind of like a very like disappointed. Like you could never do anything to make your grandpa happy kind of guy. Like, oh, of course he
exactly.
failed. Like I always knew it would come to him. He would end the whole. Yeah, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, but like definitely like again, the things that he explained, like the fact that she probably was able to see these like doors and see like the worm because in the past she had and obviously like once she told him that in order to kind of stop it and ultimately do whatever he needed to do was simply to revisit the door that she had gone through in the back. So, yeah.
The door that she found in the bag. What did you
the, the
say?
the door that she had found in, well, I guess in back in time, you know what I mean, in the
Oh,
past.
okay, yeah. I'm like,
Whatever.
The
whoa,
back door.
where is this review taking us?
Anyway,
I was a little distracted, Carlos. You know why?
no,
Making
no,
me
no,
read during these.
no, but I thought it was kind of like not smart, but kind of clever of her to bring up the fact that she said that like she kind of pushed on the fact that she was gonna go to that gate in Tokyo again, uh just because like the grandpa knew that she wasn't gonna be able to go through that door because she tried it already, and then like by opening the door that was going to allow for the worm to come out again. So he definitely knew what was going to happen. So it was kind of clever of her to bring up the fact that if you do this, then this is going to happen. So he finally told her like how she could go to the other side or whatever. But
Yeah.
I do have a question. How did he know that she had gone through before when she was little?
So I think that's the only other way that they can go,
You can
like,
see
see them
experience.
and interact with those. Yeah, that's
Oh,
what he
she
said.
went through before?
Yeah, when
Yeah,
she was 4, when she
when
was
she
a
was
little
little.
Yeah.
girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just based on that, I mean, him being as knowledgeable as he was, like obviously he was like, well, you had gone through a door before, which to me it's like, how does she go through that door in the first place? Like, who left that door open? How was that accessible? Like, like like that's a cool part, 'cause especially once you know that it is like a door to like the afterlife, and it is very much about like an afterlife. Then the fact that she was kind of roaming this like afterlife. It's just like, to me it
Is it
was just
called
like, how
the
did
Ever After? What's it called? I don't remember what they called it.
I don't clearly
Yeah, I
remember
don't
right
recall.
now. Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, to
Sorry.
me, when she finally like we get to Tokyo and then the worm comes out and she has to like sacrifice the chair to be able to put it back, and then she was
Oh
falling.
my
Is
god.
that when the cat saved her? Is that when the cat finally
Yeah.
like he transforms for like a little bit?
We
Mm-hmm.
saw that a little earlier. There was like
We
another
did,
scene earlier
right?
where he transformed, because I thought like, I'm like, what the hell did he just turn into? Also with the cats too, like I don't know if you guys noticed, and it's kind of cool, but I don't know exactly what it's. I mean, again, it's maybe with the Japanese mythology and it makes more sense. But like how one was white, one was black, and one had like a black eye, the other had the white eye. So it's like more like
Yeah,
yin, like it felt like yin and yang. But then when they both transformed, they turned the opposite color. That was really
yeah,
cool
that
too,
was
because
really
I was
cool
just like,
too.
whoa, like this is like,
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Question before we get closer to like all those things. I, I really, well, I guess not a question, also like comment that I really appreciated the whole idea of how to close the doors. Like we haven't talked
Mm-hmm.
about that yet. The whole idea that
Yeah.
the reason why these gates and like these doors exist is because these places have been vacant, right? They've been abandoned. So all the people that like live here and the reasons why like a keystone would protect it, it's gone. Like, right, there's no people there, there's no reason to protect it, therefore that area is vulnerable to like these gates opening up. So
Hmm.
therefore, like, that whole idea that in order to close them, you got to think about the people that used to live there, the memories, like the everything. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
That was so great. And like the best was like with her, when her first one, when they had the sliding door, which was funny too, because I didn't expect all the doors to shift as we kind of went. I just assumed they were all going to be like I was thinking Monster Inc., right? Like, here's Boo running around, like trying to figure out what's going on. And I just assumed all the doors were going to be like freaking like just open up and hinges. And no, I love the idea when she was at that school and then it had like the sliding door and she had to finally start like thinking about the people that were there. And I don't know, I think just the way they play with the audio and all these voices, and you were hearing all these like normal conversations, like, hey, how are you? I'm good, all this stuff. And just like very natural, normal glimpses of everyday life was like great, because then you're just, you know what's truly happening. It's just kind of more remembering the people and using that energy to lock that crap up. So,
dude, the one thing that I don't know if you realized it. So like, pretty much for those doors, like all of the voices that you heard, they were all like greetings. And then when she was trying to get to the other world or whatever, what you heard was all like farewells.
Oh.
So I don't know if you caught on with that, because like it was people leaving their homes or whatever, and all that stuff, and that's how she used to do the last one that you had like all those voices come out.
Oh.
Well, dude, normally I would catch that kind of stuff when I'm like have subtitles on, but for some reason, Crunchyroll doesn't let you have English subtitles, which is like drives me nuts.
I had English. Well, I saw it in Japanese.
Oh,
and then
okay.
so I had the English subtitles, and then
So they were saying
that's kind of when because I obviously like I saw it, and then I was seeing like, oh, these are all farewells, because that's kind of when it hit me that like thinking back like to the middle school when they were like all saying like the greetings and hello and all that stuff. So like I would have to watch it again to see if they were all greetings, and then that last one was a farewell, or if it was a mixture in the other ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you're convincing me of it, but like, it's not that I didn't pay attention because it wasn't like relevant. I think I was so enamored, like so like loving the idea that it was just hearing all these like normal, and it was just normal stuff. It wasn't like a crazy conversation or anything. And it's just, I think that's just like everyday life conversation and just like the life of a place. It just made it so beautiful, because then you know exactly what it is. Like, once those people are gone, the life just gets sucked out of this like actual physical place. And I don't know, to me that was great. Like the amusement park was another one that to me was the same thing too. Like when you see real abandoned amusement parks or really like closed down, like you can't help but to think of what you said, like all the fun that people had there, like you know, all these moments that people have shared there, like
all the great memories and
all the great memories. And it's just like, I don't know, like that movie made me feel like that. Like it wasn't obviously not in the beginning, because I didn't know what the hell was going on, like not in the first place, like the resort, I don't even know what it was. I think it was a resort or something like that. But yeah, by the time you were getting to like the school, and then obviously the amusement park, and then ultimately when she went back to her hometown, like that's exactly like, by that point you got it, and you knew that they were just faking the life, and that life was just what was like feeding this freaking worm that was causing more chaos. The void, yeah. I mean, either way, it was so like, oh man, it was good, man. I think, I don't know, it doesn't even need to be a real movie, but I think that's just, it was so good for that reason. It's just full of like.
How long do you think it'll be before they make the live action? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They better not.
I can't imagine a chair really running around like that if it's not animated.
CGI.
CGI.
Like, for like this level of animation, I just feel like these movies are better off just staying the way they are, man. Like, why? Because it's like that's part of the beauty. Like the animation, so it's like, yeah, if you make this a live action, like I don't care how beautiful the real shots are, you're never gonna be able to compare to like what we just saw. Like,
you're never going to be able to replicate that, because like if you think of the light refraction, right, like that was like the most impressive thing for me, right? Like the sun refracting like all the prismatic colors and everything like that, beautiful. The fact that it's animated, even more beautiful, because everything had like all the extra colors, all the extra like everything was just like so well thought out. And in real life with the real camera, you can't always get what you want, right? That if anything happens, a lot of the times
always get what you want.
But I wanted to keep going, but no, so it's just to me like it's not gonna be able to be replicated because you can't control that unless you're going back in there and adding it digitally. So I can't even imagine how they would replicate this movie because you would lose that beauty. Like again, even the scene when they're on the boat on the ferry, right? Same thing too. You're not getting all the sun glaring and stuff like all the sun glares, but you get all the shadows through all the like the different like posts and things like that. And it's just again the shadow and light work throughout the movie. And so much that I was thinking, what's gonna happen when it's nighttime, and what are they gonna do with the light at nighttime? Because you clearly played a huge element with it during the day, and he was still doing it. He was doing it with the moonlighting. He was doing it obviously when we were in that afterlife world. Like obviously that was like super colorful and
with the stars.
I don't know. I was super impressed by that part of it, and it's gonna be my number one takeaway from
the other thing too that I'm kind of surprised Carlos hasn't mentioned because he's always the first one to be in tune with this. The music of this movie, like it plays such a big role. Like it's I love the music. So it's visually like it looks amazing. It's a good story, and the characters are compelling, super likable, and it sounds really really good too. Like the songs kind of like draw you in and. Definitely, they set the mood like throughout the whole movie too, and then they're catchy. That I just love the music too, and like besides the animation, the music was the second big thing to kind of like get my attention and draw me in.
No, definitely, man. Like I mean, I think I was lost with the whole movie, man. It's hard for me to say like the music elevated the movie when I think the movie itself just elevates like everything about it. It's just kind of crazy. It's just like there's nothing about this that I would say it's a flaw. I did want to start kind of giving some love to the aunt because I do feel like she had like that scene. Like if there was like an Oscar for best supporting actress, like that aunt would have gotten that during that monologue where she's being possessed by the evil black cat.
That killed me.
That was like, dude, I'm like, is this happening? Like I just couldn't believe it. Was like I wanted to get out of there. Like if I was a fly in that room, I wanted to just kind of like walk away and come back and just be like pretend I didn't see it or hear any of that.
Yo, and the worst part is that she was conscious during the whole thing because even after like she was like done being possessed, what would you call it? Like she remembered everything and she still said it, and so she knew she said it, and that sucked. And I think that then gives it more gravity to it because then you're like really like, damn. So at first you want to hope that it wasn't really her saying it, which it wasn't, but then she knows that she said it, even if it wasn't her. And yeah, that was kind of heartbreaking to sense. So you're right,
like
man. That was
deep dark thoughts. Yeah.
Especially because the whole time, like, can you blame her? Clearly, she's like freaking out, and she's like the mother to this child, and super worried. And at first, she's cool, like, go ahead, stay your friends. But then she doesn't go, and she's skipping to another island, and she keeps going and going. And then, of course, you got to start worrying. I'm like, who are you running away with? Like, what dude are you with? And all this stuff. And it's like it makes sense, but by the time that she catches up with him, like, she's still very accepting, very like embracing. She's not like beating her or like yelling at her and be like, you got to come back to me, you're still a minor. Like, you know, like, I don't know, like you could tell that she was clearly trying to, like, she really loved Suzume, right? And that she really was clearly trying to be there for her, even if she believed she was off trying to be I don't know, something.
It's funny because, you know, like, you know, I have two siblings, like two of my sisters, and like my mom's still connected to my younger sister's bank account. And I don't think my little sister knows that. So my mom's able to see like the money she has. So it's just, you know, she's able to kind of like worry about her if maybe like that money's not enough. It's like, hey, like I'm a little bit worried or nothing. But it's just so funny that like my sister has like no idea that technically my mom can track her through all the purchases and stuff. But trust me, my mom's not that kind of person. It's just one of those things that I really don't know if my sister knows that she's connected or not. But it's just kind of funny because I remember like seeing that in my mom's account, and I was like, "Wait, what is that other account?" And she's like, "No, that's your sister's. Don't say nothing. Like, shut up. You didn't see that."
Well, Carlos, this is gonna become public, just so you know.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, we become public if you say something, so you better not say nothing.
Too bad your sisters watch the podcast.
Who knows? Well, this is a good test.
No. But you know what? Too with the end, like also in the beginning of the movie, like she made her lunch, and then like when she finally like opened it, you noticed everything, and then I think one of her classmates mentioned the fact that like, you totally noticed that she made that with lots of love or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of them mentioned something about like how much love was in her lunch, because they all had like little figures and like animated like carrots and stuff.
Well, I mean, she was. I don't.
That's
What was her
super cute.
job? Do you guys know what she did for a living?
It looked like she worked for the government or something.
Oh God, I hope
Yeah,
not.
I don't
'cause
know.
then-
I don't think I ever went back to figure it out. I never really like
I'm just
truly
saying. I
paid
think
attention.
she genuinely used her niece as an excuse to like never find somebody, because like Ramon, you said like
Oh, of
there was
course,
somebody
yeah.
interested in her, and from what I could tell, she was a very good looking, and 40. That's super young for me. Like that's the kind of woman Raul's looking for right about now. A good independent 40-year-old woman.
Well, and
with
that's
lots of money, hopefully.
well, and that's and she'll make you little lunches with like cute, like shaped into little cute little animals and stuff.
I'll
Aw,
take it.
actually,
And a
anyone
note.
would. That's amazing. And a note. Aw. No, but I mean, like that's a funny thing too, because like, so I mean, just on that aspect of the aunt and Suzume's like relationship, it's like beautiful too, because here's a kid that could have gone so wrong, like basically orphaned at that point, but taken in by her like aunt, and then clearly the aunt did nothing but love her, and then Suzume herself is a freaking loving person. Like we saw that through her journey through Japan, that everybody ended up loving her, everybody like ended up trusting her, and I think that goes to speak a lot about those types of relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like here's a girl who didn't have a mother, lost her mother, was really holding on to that thought of it, one because of the whole memory of seeing her and what she didn't know was the afterlife, the chair that she was holding on to, like, so this like big attachment to that, but at the end of the day it didn't stop her from being a great person. And then the aunt, same thing too, Carlos, like you said, like she was using it as an excuse, because clearly Suzume kept on saying that to her. She was like you're just like saying that you need to do this and this for me. I don't need you to do that for me. Like, go ahead, go out, go party. Like, don't worry about me. I'll feed myself tonight. I'll do this. And it was just like, it was fun to watch, because like, who doesn't want a person like that in their lives to like truly take care of them and, be thinking about them all the time. And then, again, another fun part is like with Sota's, student friend, or what's it called, student schoolmate, when he meets Ant and they all get together and they end up on a road trip, I honestly thought that was probably like the least eventful part of the movie, but not in a bad way. I still like how they kept it like full of story, right? Like, there were so many interactions that were like cute and they were great, but that's another part where the aunt, like, she comes back, and instead of being pissed and trying to drag her back home, which she tried a little bit, right? But like, at the end of the day, she was there with her, and then she was a random ass dude in their little like non-functional convertible. I don't know. It's just, again, the fact that even a road trip part of it was so great. Like, what is it, 5 hour, 7 hour road trip? Still managed to make a really significant part in this movie one way.
Well, dude, when I saw his
know.
like red fancy wax car, I'm like, oh my God. And then it's so funny that like, he's like having conversations about it, like, oh, it's used, and then it's like, oh, we'll see this closest, and
got a
then
great deal, yeah.
apart. And that was pretty funny.
And the funniest part with him is that he kept on saying that Sota owed him money, and he never did. It was the other way around.
The other way around. But I think it's funny because I known people in my life that drive this like super fancy car, and unless you really ask the details, like how many miles does the car have, like where did you get it from, and then all of a sudden you start finding out that the car has like over 150,000 miles. You find out that it has like a rebuild title because it was in a car accident. And it's just like, yeah, like don't ever judge somebody for having a fancy car when you don't know if that, unless the car's brand new, there could be some history as to how they really got this car. So I just thought that was kind of funny.
It's like the frame of an old freaking Honda, but with the body of a freaking Corvette. Hell yeah, let's go. You don't need to know that.
But I mean, at the end, was it a surprise when it kind of like, I wasn't expecting it all, but that was really cool when this cat was fighting the war, man. When that finally happened, I was like, oh shit, like, was that expected? That they didn't need it, but this is freaking cool.
Not to mention,
I would say, like, I did suspect that the cat was taking them to where the incursions were going to be, like where the doors were. I suspected that. I possibly suspected that the cat was opening the doors, but I thought more that the cat was leading them to where the worm was going to pop out. and then, but I did think that the cat was trying to get Souta to become the keystone, because they didn't want to be the keystone anymore.
I didn't want to trust Daijin, the big cat, until like he was being all cute with Daijin, the little one, and I was oh, it's adorable.
Even then, I didn't trust it. I was like, is it gonna eat Daijin or? What they did with the ant was like messed up. That was jacked up. That made me sad.
With the ant?
With the ant?
Yeah. That whole possessing her and
not
possessing her, but like bringing out her worst like thoughts.
Well, you could tell the black cat. You could tell the black cat was clearly more like practical and trying to get to the point as quick as he could. I did love that. Like obviously there was a little glimpse of the grandpa having a relationship with him. Like he knew him.
Yeah, with the little one.
With the big one too. Because when he showed up, it was the silhouette of the big one, not the little one. Go back and look it up. Yeah, it was the big one. It was not the little one. And he's like, "Oh, good to see you again, old friend." And it's just like, to me, I was like, and I remembered it because he was in the same shape as Daijin, the little one. And I was just like, that. But when I first saw it, I thought it was Daijin because that's the only cat that we had seen so far. But once we got introduced to the other one, I went back and looked at it because I'm like, oh, that makes more sense. Regardless, like I knew that, not that he wasn't to be not trusted, but I just didn't know like if he was going to be more mischievous or like trying to be like a, cause more chaos, like of course, like the yin and the yang. But like, I don't know, like I really do like how they played out. Like the whole idea that they were like strong gods in this form and also at the same time keystones, and their sole mission is to kind of move around and protect these places as they need like protection. It was just beautiful to me. Like that's the stuff that again I had to look up a little bit more how the Japanese mythology played into it, because you watch it and you kind of think you know what you like are watching, but I think once you look into the history, it's so much better, because then you're like, this is what the Japanese people believe in, or they had believe in, and just to see that become like a animal. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word, but
is there anything about the worm? Is that part of it too, or is that something that they just used in the movie?
I mean, the only thing that I'd seen something about that was just more about like there would be different animals that would kind of be manifestations of like what's it called? Disasters. Yeah, because like there's something about like a giant catfish and a bunch of other stuff like that too that were also needed keystones to stop them. So, but besides that.
It's funny because I think we just recently heard about the catfish from Jujutsu Kaisen. That was one of the things that he mentioned. Is like, in Jujutsu Kaisen, catfishes were treated as a way of predicting a earthquake or tsunami or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it was an earthquake, so that was kind of funny. You're
I think that's what it's supposed to be like in general in the part of the mythology, but here they did it as a worm, and I don't know if the worm has anything to do with it, because again, I didn't look into all of it. I was just like, I just wanted to know a glimpse of like the keystones and what really that stands for. But I mean, that was great. I mean, it's even just the idea of the worm in its final form when it was going to turn into that big earthquake was beautiful. Because then you have like and so the final bro was like,
it was going to turn into the final angel.
The final. Yeah. I was totally expecting, because you said something about it.
Dragon Balls.
Well, Carlos said something about Evangelion, so I was kind of waiting for a moment where it was just going to get crazier, and it was already. But I think that was a part of like the worm and the manifestations, how like the whole idea of the earthquake, right? Like as he was rising, and then right before he fell, like he would get those other like beams of light, like kind of attach him, and then like that was just like that's beautiful, man. Yeah. Just the idea that like this thing is being personified as a worm. That's
and
no words.
And not to say that the worm needed to transform into something else to look a little bit more terrifying, because at the end of the day, the worm is just a representation of what's going to manifest. But it would have been cool if in that world, when they were in the, whatever we call it, the ever after or whatever, it would have been cool if that worm was represented visually like a different way. Like it maybe had like the realistic look of a worm. That would have been kind of cool. Instead of them just battling with this like shadowy, cloudy thing.
But I mean, but again, like you said, I don't think you need it. But I think it's actually kind of cool, because adding a different element like that at that point, is kind of late. But I do enjoy that the cats turned into something different, and they were like beast
when
form.
she
And
finally woke him up, did she have to like pull him out and then he eventually like he like immediately became awake, or did she have to like shake him or anything when
she
she
kissed
pulled?
him.
She kissed him, and that's how he was able to wake up
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she opened the
It was-
door and like took his
Took him
hand
out.
and then.
Oh,
A
man.
true love's kiss.
Well,
No,
guys,
that
you
was.
guys. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say you guys never asked me what I was drinking, but you know it's probably you. It's probably you guys could been able to tell. Like I've been sick this whole episode, and this is actually a nighttime Terraflu. So like right about now, I feel like I need one of you to come to my house, shake me, and give me a kiss, and be like, "Wake up, wake up."
Go run you closer.
That's the best
Hey,
I could do because
I was able to fight Terraflu nighttime for 2 hours yesterday, so I can do it again. I can keep,
yeah.
can keep going.
And we didn't ask you what you were drinking because you never took a sip.
I
So-
finished this whole thing,
So,
man.
And we didn't even know.
It's scissor.
All you told me was that my Stanley Cup has lead.
Oh yeah, before we
Oh,
started,
my
before
God.
we started recording. Yes. But I guess that was a distraction there. I thought you were drinking lead. Okay, It
I've
made
had so
sense.
much lead in my
I thought
life
you were
that I'm
drinking tea.
done with it.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up during times of lead, but I mean, so then the biggest, most crazy part of the whole thing was ultimately finding out that clearly little Suzume had seen herself in the past, and now it was her like present self seeing her past self. But even crazier too was the fact that Sato was with her the whole time, because that's the thing that they never showed in the beginning, or maybe they did, but I don't remember that part.
Yeah.
So when you saw that he went in there with her right away, that's when it clicked with me right away. I'm like, that's how she knows them or recognizes them. But just that whole idea that it was always, I was like, what? Yeah, like that whole idea that it was always her is crazy. I mean, we see this in other movies and other stuff, but it's just in this movie because you went for the whole journey. Discovering that at the end too was just beautiful.
She thinks she's like chasing her mom, and it's chasing herself. It's kind of it's crazy.
Yeah. And then she gives her the chair back, so she gives something like hope, like that. She reminds her like your mom is gone, but you're always gonna have this memento of her, and also like that memory is always gonna be there. You're never gonna be alone. You're always gonna be loved. You're gonna be okay, and it's just like, like if I could go back and tell my kid self something, I don't think it would be that, but it'd be something.
So how many times did you guys cry during this movie?
I don't know if I cried at all.
You know I'm the crier. I don't think I did once this time. You did. Wait. We got a deep. Well, wait. When? Because it's cute. I like it.
When she had to stab the chair into the thing.
Okay, yeah, that was kind of emotional, impactful. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
and it hurt her in the inside.
And then she was falling, and I think that's when the cat catches her, right? When she's like falling from. Yeah. Okay. At first, I thought he turned into like a rat, and I was kind of like, oh shit! Like, what did he turn into?
He looked like just like a bigger, fluffier cat. Yeah.
Okay. He looked like a badger or a skunk from the back, because he was just like really fluffy
or
and like
beaver.
Beaver or a bear or another fuzzy or a hibernating rat.
A red panda.
A red panda, but it's black.
Even though those are Chinese, aren't they?
No, but the cat was like a really cool part of the movie, even though I hated him throughout the whole thing because I thought he was causing the problem. And even when you found out, and it was so cute when like she finally like was like, oh, you were actually helping us, and because he was kind of sickly looking and he looked like depressed, sad, and then when she was like, oh no, you were actually helping us, then he became like fluffy and cute all over again. So that was kind of cute.
Suzume,
like that.
Yeah, super cute.
You do love me.
I've been on. So two things I can't get out of my like ears head or like my mind is the intro, because again, like Raul said, I've heard that so many times by now. I had no clue it had belonged to this movie. Great, right? Like the little jingle, or not jingle, but the little tones that they do. Yeah. And then the little cat, Daijin, saying Suzume, like was just the cutest thing ever in the whole day. I just swear that I was just kind of seeing this little Daijin follow me around, and it'd be more eventful that way. But
it's funny, and this is gonna like date us, but everybody has like their phone on vibrate or silent. But like back in the day, if you wanted to buy that sound as your ringtone and somebody heard it would be like, Ramon, like, where did you get that? That's so cool. I love it. But it's like, that's not even cool anymore.
No, I mean, you could do it, but in reality, it's like, you won't get the same shock effect anymore.
They'll be like, shut your phone up, Ramon. Put it on vibrate.
It's like, who's Suzume?
Why is it on vibrate? Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I guess final thoughts on the movie. Again, I really enjoyed it. There are two other movies of this director that I want to see, especially, there's the one that I think was the one that put him on the map. I don't know.
Your
It's
Name?
Your Name. Your Name. I think it's the one that everybody has always said is.
Oh, he would have done that because it looks the same.
Yeah,
and
so
I've been wanting to watch that one too.
And that one's supposed to be like the best of the best from like these three. And then Weathering with You was the one that I don't remember how that was taken, but that's another one that hopefully I get to see in the future. So that's exciting.
If you watch any of these, you gotta let me know how similar they are to this story, because that's the one thing that I've heard from him is that all his stories are similar. Which again, I don't care if they're good. Like, I mean, there's so many other things I watch already that all seem the same. But I'm just curious, like. I mean, because again, like I said earlier, I'm like, whoever recommended this, thank you, because this is not something that I typically seek out myself. But I definitely am like, dude, should I be watching more of these? Like,
well, I was gonna tell you. I mean, you're not gonna have to wait for me to tell you because actually somebody else suggested another movie, and it just so happens that they went with Your Name. So it's gonna be really up to. It's really gonna be up to you guys whether you want to do Your Name next week or take like maybe a week, 2 week breaks and then go back to it. But somebody did suggest Your Name as the second request after this one.
No way, but if it if it is like I said, like the kind of what I've heard, let's split it up just because again,
give it a week, time to breathe a little. Yeah,
we're gonna be like, oh my god, the animation so beautiful, the lighting so beautiful, the sound so beautiful, the love story so beautiful, and it's like that's
assuming there's a love story for all you know. It's like the opposite.
I don't know. Like I said, it's just again. But no, yeah, for sure. Like I think I've heard of the other ones that he's done. But again, just seeing this one is really what makes me want to go and actually watch those. So good excuse.
It's true what you're saying because based on this one, like I can already tell is Weathering with You gonna be like about weather and preventing like disasters,
storms, tornadoes, hurricanes.
Your Name, I don't know what that could be.
I mean, I don't want to waste any more time on this, but I know there's other series and things that we watch. It's the same thing too, same formula, same movies that repeat, and again, at the end of the day, not bad because if you're really putting in the time and these things are still good. I mean, I'm always down to watch it. Like. Mm-hmm. How many slasher movies can you watch? I could watch all of them. Just give them to me. I'm like, what happens in them? Same thing, but we'll still watch them. So I mean, bad comparison, but it's still easy to understand.
I just started watching that Prime movie, the one with the time travel and they go back to the 80s, the slasher one.
Oh,
you recommended it, so like hopefully I'll finish it this week.
With the mom from Modern Family. I forget what's the name of that movie.
And Sally from
totally something. Yeah, so good.
Totally Killer. I think it's Totally Killer.
Totally Killer. Yeah, like the phrase Totally Killer.
Prime Video, yeah.
Is it
it's a good movie. Really good.
I just started watching it, yeah. It was entertaining.
Not like really good, like it's amazing, like really good, like it gives you things that you didn't realize that that there's just like fun things that actually make you enjoy the movie, and you think it's gonna be like any random like those type of horror movies where there's like a slasher running around, and then they throw a little bit of time travel thing in there, and you're like, what? But it works really well, and I really like what they did with it. So
we need to bring back where we talk about like for 10-15 minutes about what we watched this weekend because. Man, I don't even get to talk about Percy Jackson now.
Nope, not when we hit an hour already. Bye-bye.
All right, then. Bye-bye. I'll talk to you guys
soon. I didn't beat it. Don't leave me.
I mean, is there anything final you will say? I think we're done, man. But
we can't repeat how beautiful it was so many times. I think we're good.
We need to start putting quarter or counting our beautifuls. Start challenging ourselves to not say beautiful.
Or we gotta start watching things that aren't beautiful.
I like that.
I like the way you think. I can come up with a couple.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you guys soon, and hopefully by next week I'm feeling a lot better.
Suzume.
Word.
See ya.